Come on, you all right? All right. Hey, I got about 20 minutes to talk to you today, and I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited because you're here. And the reason we spend all this money, go through all this effort, is because we believe in what's sitting in those seats right there. We believe that down deep inside is potential that the world has never seen just yet. Today, I want to talk to you about what I call the voice. See, inside of every one of us is a voice. You might want to call it conscience, but it's called the voice. I've traveled across this country now for about 30 years and spoken to over 1 million teenagers. I started when I was 1 year old. I don't really appreciate you laughing right there, but at least both of you that did, but that's cool. And in the last 30 years, I've ran into a few people that have had some trouble finding the voice, listening to that voice. How many know voices can be a little confusing sometimes? Let me see your hand. How many got parents in here? Raise your hand. All right, if someone next to you has not got their hand up, tell them to wake up, because they do have parents. I'm just telling you right now. I do know that. How many know your parents can give you some confusing voices? Let me see your hand. How many know moms can say some confusing stuff? Let me see your hand. Put your hands down, because my mom is the winner. Because my mom was the most confusing woman on the planet. My mom would say stuff like this. Hey, yeah, Mom, don't look at me in that tone of voice. I'm like, my mom would ask me stupid, confusing questions. How would you like me to slap your face? I'm like, how'd you know, Mom? Who told you? You know? My mom, I'd be crying. My mom, you want me to give you something to cry for? I'm like, I'm doing fine on my own. Thank you very much. But men and women, we hear some confusing voices. I want to tell you about an experience I had about 20 years ago. I was on my way to speak to a group just like this, just across town. It was an evening rally, and I was a little bit late, and I was tired. I'd been speaking in public schools all day, man. I was tired. I was wore out. I was feeling a little sorry for myself. I was like, man, nobody really wants to listen. I'm not sure I'm really making a difference. So this phrase popped in my head. Did somebody say McDonald's? So I thought, I'm going to get something to eat if I'm going to be all upset. So I pull up to the McDonald's drive-thru window in Sacramento there. I was just getting ready to order my quarter pounder with cheese. Sorry, but they had a pretty cool toy that week. Anyway, I pull up there to get ready to order my food. Now, men and women, when I pulled up, the drive-thru line of the McDonald's I was at is here. 6 feet away was a street that runs parallel. Drive-thru, street, just a little grass in the middle. I pull up there, I'm getting ready to order my food when a car comes sliding up next to my car. I'm not talking like, beep, I'm talking, totally scared me. Now, young ladies, you don't know nothing about this, but every young man in this room knows about this. When you get in a car, you're bad. I don't care if you're 5 years old, you're bad. Your arm don't reach the window, your arm's hanging out the window. I'm just bad right now. And you would never, ever wave out of a car. That's not cool at all. What's up? You know, never. It's much cooler when you're in a car to go like this. What's up? But I always thought that was kind of dumb, because what if there's a whole bunch of people waving to you? What's up? What's up? What's up? You know? You guys, this car comes sliding up to my car. All of a sudden, the driver's side door flies open, and this dude gets out of his car, and he just kept on getting out. He was huge. I was like, oh. I wanted to call sightings just for a second. I thought evolution is true, man, because if this dude's not the missing link, he knows him. You know what I'm saying? They're friends. They've met at family reunions. This guy was huge. Dude had a Coke in his hand, threw the Coke against his own car. Blam! I thought, man, if the food's that bad here, I'll go to Burger King. You know what I'm saying? Dude comes around the car and he starts cussing. I'm not going to tell you what he said, but I'll tell you this. He was making up cuss words. I was writing them down. I was like, that's pretty good. Wow, I had never heard a 4-syllable cuss word. You know, I was like, I'm going to use that in an argument in the future. You know, here we go. Now I'm sitting there and I'm in my car and he's coming around and I'm like, what did I do, man? Go ahead. There's plenty of Happy Meals. And you actually look like you could use one right now. You know what I'm saying? But dude comes around the car. He doesn't even look at me. He just opens up the passenger door of his car and his twin gets out. Now I'm not kidding. I'm like, oh, great. Now one's going to kill me. One's going to eat me. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to be an extra value meal, you know what I mean? I looked at the sign at McDonald's that said supersize it. I was like, you're not playing. These dudes are huge. All of a sudden, the dude that's driving pushes the other guy. I go, that's a good sign right there. I will eat my Happy Meal and watch a fight right here, right now. Dinner and a show, you know what I'm saying? This guy pushes the other guy out of the way. He flips the seat forward on the car. He reaches into the back seat of the car, and this is where it all stopped being funny. He grabs a hold of a 16-year-old girl by the shirt. He pulls her out of the car violently by her shirt, rips her shirt halfway down her sleeve. He picked her up off the ground by her shirt and he slammed her violently against the open car door. Blam! Now, men and women, when I saw that, I know I heard one guy right here is like, what are you going to do? I know I don't look very tough, and that's part of the strategy. But this dude, he throws this girl against the car. Now, when I saw this girl get thrown against the car, we're talking today about going all in, about getting involved. When I saw this dude throw this girl against the car, I don't know what I did, but I know one thing I didn't do. I didn't think. I just jumped out of my car like I was going to do something. Wah! As soon as I got outside the car, man, I'm telling you, I found out something is true. You know that thing on the mirror of your car that say things may appear smaller? It's true. These dudes were huge. I'm talking wall-to-wall Neanderthal. You know what I'm saying? These dudes had muscles in places I don't even got places. You know what I'm saying? One dude had these huge muscled-up legs hanging out his arm sleeves. I mean, he was big. So I'm standing behind my car, men and women, and I'm scared. I'm not trying to be cool. I was scared. I'm not talking scared like, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable in this situation. No, no, no. I'm talking scared like, you're going to die. I'm standing behind my car. I was so scared. The dude thought my car was running. It was my knees hitting it. Now I'm literally paralyzed by fear. I don't know what to do, but this guy's going off on this girl, and he looks like he's going to hurt her. And all of a sudden, man, this thought just comes over me. Wait a minute, man. Donny, you don't need to be scared. Man, you've lived for a moment like this. This is a Jackie Chan moment right here, right now. This is a moment where heroes are made. You know what I'm saying? And you know, in the movies, it always works cool. They just say something cool, and the bad dude runs away scared. We call them movie lines. But I remember when I was a little kid, me and my dad would watch all these Clint Eastwood movies. I knew what he would do. He would just say something like, you know something, punks? You're starting to bug me. Something like that. But I thought to myself, if you're going to try to scare two big dudes, you can't just go, hey, punks, you bug me. You can't just say it like that. You got to say it like you're just crazy. You're the toughest dude on the planet. So I thought to myself, bark like a quarterback. You know, they don't really talk. They kind of bark. Down, sit, you know, they're ready to go. So I'm like, yeah. So I got my plan. I'm standing behind my car, make myself look bigger. And I'm like, okay, here goes Jackie Chan, Clint Eastwood, Oprah Winfrey. You know, I'm thinking anybody that'll help right now would be cool. Finally, I just said, that's it. Here goes. I'm saving this girl's life. And I just barked at this dude. I was like, don't hurt her. I'm not playing. My voice went up 10 octaves. What a time to go through changes. I'm serious. My voice went so high, the dude didn't hear me, but dogs started barking 5 blocks away. I mean, my voice went so high, I almost started moonwalking and singing. You know what I'm saying? My voice went up there. It was up there. Now, the dude didn't even hear me, man, but his friend heard me, and his friend turned around. Took about 20 minutes. He goes, hey, man, don't worry. He's not going to hurt her. Hurt her. He's big. So I just looked him right in the eye and just said, okay. And all of a sudden, these two big dudes jump back in their car. They take off down the street, and they leave the girl standing there. So I was like, that's right. That's right. Now, this girl's standing there. Her shirt's ripped half off. She's scared to death. She has no, I know exactly what she was feeling. I'm like, young lady, are you okay? So I go over to start to help her. When I get close to her, there's a kid inside McDonald's watching the whole thing out the window. I'm not kidding. He's like, little fat bald dude in the drive-thru is about to die right now. Oh, now you guys laugh? That's not cool at all, man. This dude inside McDonald's, true story, every word was true. He goes on the other side of McDonald's, finds a sheriff eating dinner, tells the sheriff, hey man, you better hurry because there's a man beating up a girl in the drive-thru line. I'm not kidding. This cop comes flying around the corner. Chicken McNuggets are rolling out of his car. He's got barbecue sauce all over his face, and he slides his car in behind me. I'm like, great, everybody wants to run over me today. And he yells at me out the window of the squad car, hold it right there. I've seen the movies. I'm like, what? Dude gets out of his car and he goes, what's going on here? So I turned around. I was going to tell him what happened. When I turned around, I realized there's no one around. Just me and this girl with her shirt ripped half off crying. I was like, no, I'm crying. So I told the cop what happened. He believed my story. And I gave that young lady a ride to the place I was speaking that night. And I found 2 young ladies in the auditorium that would give her a ride home. Now, 2 weeks later, she calls me up. We gave her a T-shirt. Someone saw the T-shirt, and they said, oh, I know that guy. He's one of my mentors, and they gave her my home phone number. She calls me up on a Tuesday night, 2 weeks later. She says, Donnie, this is Maria. Do you remember me from the drive-thru? I'm like, which one? I said, I think so. And she began to tell me this story. Now, I'm not here to compare stories or try to impress you with anything like that, men and women. I'm here to just tell you what she told me, what she said. Maybe you know somebody going through something way worse. Maybe you yourself even are struggling with some tough decisions in your own life right now. Here's what she said. She said, Donnie, I'm 16. The guy you saw in the parking lot, my boyfriend, he's 24. I just found out I'm pregnant with his child. He wants nothing to do with me now. He's kicked me out of my house, or my mom and dad kicked me out of my house. I don't have a place to live. I don't have any money. I don't know what to do with this baby. Can you help me? Now, I did invite Maria and try to help her get her into some mentoring programs to try to help her out. That's not the reason I tell you the story. The reason I tell you the story is this, because I believe with all my heart that what was going on inside of Maria's heart is going on inside of a lot of people. She was confused about a voice. She had some voices in there that was saying something like this. Will somebody please tell me I'm valuable? Will somebody please tell me they love me? Will somebody please tell me my life has meaning? And if all I got to do is party with you to feel accepted, no big deal. If all I got to do is sleep with you to feel loved, no big deal. Just tell me that my life has value. And I want to talk to you about that voice just for a moment. I'm talking about the voice that's after you make the class laugh at the teacher and then it quiets down. It's the one that's still talking to you on the inside that says, why'd you do that? That's not you. That's not the best version of you. I'm talking about the voice when everybody else is picking on the person that everybody's supposed to pick on, that you walk away and say, man, I'm glad that wasn't my little brother. I'm glad that wasn't my sister, my friend. I'm glad that wasn't me. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? I'm talking about the voice. You see, I want to tell you, when you really get in touch with the voice, and we got a lot of voices screaming at us. You got the voice of the crowd screaming at you all the time, saying, let's go this way. And I'm just trying to tell you that what we're trying to tell you today is to stop and to listen to the voice. And say, is that really where I want to go? Before you go with the crowd, know where the crowd's going, because someday you're going to arrive. And you want to make sure that's where you want to end up. I'm going to talk to you about that voice. You see, the voice, we call it conscience. It'll never lie to you. It'll always call you to greatness. It will always call you to be the best version of you. It'll always take you a step further. It'll draw no lines. It'll set no limits. It has no rivals. It always has your best interest at heart. It doesn't run out when the good times run out, and when the party's over, it doesn't abandon you. It's not there. See, the voice will always tell you to say yes to your future. Yes to your personal dreams and goals. And yes to who you are as an individual. I told you the last 30 years, I ran into a few people that struggled with that voice. I'll never forget one young man. He was sentenced to me as a mentor. 100 hours. 100 hours. I could have made him pull weeds, clean toilets, anything I wanted to do for 100 hours. He got in a little trouble. They sentenced him to me, and I said, hey, man, I want you to sit in this room right here, and I want you to read this book. He's like, what? Read? Don't you got no toilets to clean or weeds to pull or something? I go, just read the book, man. And he began to start developing this voice, this thing I call the voice. He began to start doing pretty good. Matter of fact, he was starting to make strides. I began to see this young man begin to grow in areas of character. I began to see him grow in the areas of conscience. And he was doing really well. But he had some other voices in his life that he never really wanted to turn off. He wanted to just keep them there every once in a while. And sometimes the voices would be conflicting. And sometimes we'd have a battle. I remember when he was playing football at Cena High School, he gave me a picture. It was my favorite picture. It was him in his uniform striking the Heisman pose. I put it in my office, and the first thing I would see when I'd walk in, that picture meant a lot to me for a couple reasons. One, because I've seen this young man's life turn around, and also because I really believed that that picture could become a reality. You see, he was a very talented young man, very talented, naturally talented, almost to the point where he didn't have to work at it, you know. But see, talent, men and women, is never enough. Talent's never enough. You got to find the voice. You got to follow the voice. You got to listen to the voice. He went on. Marzi went on. and through high school and went into college because of some SAT scores. He went to play at a junior college up in Butte College. Marzy's 21st birthday came around. It wasn't long after that I took the picture off my bookshelf. And I'll never put it up again because it's too painful to look at. See, Marzy's 21st birthday, the voices start. You see, the voice of the crowd says, everybody knows what you do on your 21st birthday. You party. You throw it all to the wind. You don't listen to your future, your dreams and goals. They'll be there when I'm done. You don't listen to who you are as an individual. You don't listen to the best version of you. That night, he drank with everybody else. Got in a little altercation. This is not a gang member. This is a guy on a football team. One of the linemen and him had a little scrimmage. They got upset. They started talking, escalated into a full-on fight. Marzy, being a very talented athlete, tackled this larger young man and had him on the ground and was subduing him. And right in the middle of it, he finally listened to the voice and he thought, this is not me. This is not what I want. And he got up and he let the young man up. And he went out to the car and he sat against the car and he was very upset, frustrated. But this young man was embarrassed that he had been subdued by a smaller player. He went upstairs. I'm not talking about a 9mm in a drive-by. That's senseless. I'm talking about a young man on the football team. He went up there and he went under his bed and he got a .22 target rifle that his father had given him. It was loaded. He came downstairs. He began to walk towards my friend Marzy. As he got closer, Marzy could make out in the night who it was. He's like, what are you doing, man? It's not that serious. And he began to pull the trigger. And he unloaded 13 bullets into my friend Marzy. My friend Marzy turned to run, took him one step. That was his last one. He fell to the ground as his spinal cord was severed. I'll never forget being in the courtroom with Marzy in the wheelchair. As Marzy every 2 minutes would double over in intense pain because the nerves were still connected, because he didn't yet make the decision to cut those nerves, ending all possibility of recovery. And so every 2 minutes he'd be in serious pain and he would double over. And I remember him sitting there and we're watching the trial of the young man who shot him. And he looked at me and he gets the pain under control. I'll never forget, I could see it right now. And he looked at me and he says, it wasn't that serious, man. You see, men and women, the voice always talks loud after. What you and I got to do, what makes the difference is when we listen to it before. Now, the story doesn't end all that bad. The story doesn't end that bad because I got a call from another young man the next day. He said, it's Marzy's best friend. He said, Marzy's been shot. He said, man, I don't know what to do. It's a mess. I just saw him, man. I was supposed to be with him. I said, why don't you come on over, man? We'll go see Marzy. We got in the car and we drove 2 hours to Chico Inlow Hospital. On the way up there, I saw this young man as his head was pinned against the window, tears streaming down his face as he began to find his own voice. You see, that young man was headed down that exact same road. But that day, that young man found his voice. And he made a decision that I'm no longer going to listen to the voice of the crowd, but I'm going to listen to the voice that calls out the best version of me. And I'm excited that that young man listened, because that young man's name is Jason Harper, the founder of the Character Combine. You guys, what we're trying to say today is this: you can make a difference. Listen to the voice.